All right, one of these days I'm going to get those cues right. Welcome to another edition of the Three Guys Rant. Thanks for tuning in. It's another... yeah. Gentlemen, in the house with me today is Mike and Arvin. Gentlemen, say hello.
What's up?
Hello.
And we're going to get through it today. I know we're still learning. You know, you would think by now we'd have our intros and outros down, but we're still having some issues with that.
Why do you say that? It's only been about 2 years?
Hey, I understand. You know what? I'm still... The lights on my VCR are still blinking, so, you know, I guess it's not that big of a deal if I can't get the intro right here.
Well, we were on hiatus for a while, you know, negotiating with the networks and the different stations, you know, so it threw us off our game for a little bit.
I'm sorry, you said negotiating with the networks. Who are we, the Simpsons, asking for, you know, what is it, $22 million a year to voice over a cartoon?
Yeah, they wanted us to take a pay cut. Well, we held strong, and we're still making nothing, but we're here.
You know what?
So,
let's double your salary right now on the spot.
Yep.
I was going to say, man, if you're making nothing, at least you're doing okay. The rest of it, it's costing me to show up.
They swear everybody else gets paid with coupons and gift cards. So I figure, okay, if everybody else is doing it, we'll do it too.
You know what? At least they're giving me food stamps, so,
right.
you know.
You know what? Is my mic even on? Because I don't even know if I can even hear myself over here.
I can hear you loud and clear.
No, you don't need a mic to be heard, Big Mouth, but yes, it is.
You know what? And as usual, no engineer on the board.
Hey, that sounds like our show. That's our budget right there. You know what? As we get into today's show, I wanted to take a moment and pause for a lot of you that are just watching the news, or if you're turning in, and if you're not a junkie like us, you know, I did want to say that it's time for a moment of silence. I mean, for the Jobs family. Steve Jobs, founder and co-founder of Apple, passed away a few hours ago, and I'm going to say that from a tech junkie perspective, it really is just a tragic loss. You know, the guy was just an amazing pioneer. I make fun of a lot of the Apple products as a whole, to me, you know, but I remember the Apple II, and I know you guys are going to laugh, but I was all of 11 or 12 years old. We were on the Apple II. Our school could afford one.
They've been around that long?
They've been around that long.
I was going to say Apple II? I thought they started with the Apple IV.
No, there was no such thing as an Apple IV. But the Apple I, there was only 200 units made. There's about 50 left in the world. One sold last year at Christie's for about $235,000.
Wow.
The Apple II came out the subsequent year, and it was a hit. It was an instant hit, to be honest. It was one of those things that it caught on. It was self-contained. And having losing him today is just tragic. And I'm sorry, I'm getting a ton of feedback in my earphones. It's just when somebody hits something.
No, I agree with you, and it was amazing because rarely do you see, you know, when somebody, a CEO of a company dies, yeah, it's gonna make the news. But I mean, every station, whether it was radio or TV, the moment the news hit, I mean, everybody just broke to let the world know what happened.
Well, and I think what happens when you get somebody like Steve Jobs is it's not a traditional CEO. Right. You know, this is the actual visionary founder. Some people were comparing him to Da Vinci, some people were comparing him to Edison. Yep. And I think one of the problems they're going to have is with Steve Jobs being out of the picture, you know, and again, our condolences to his family, you know, and all the followers, it's going to be that this isn't just the end of an individual. I mean, I'm wondering how the company goes on. I mean, it was his vision and his, you know, his vision that kept the company going.
No, I agree. He made them the most valuable technology company in the world, almost single-handedly. You think about it, everything that he pioneered, starting with the iPod changed the way people listen to music. It changed the music industry.
Well, you know what? Just to kind of give you some perspective of how important this guy was. You know, by no means I'm like the least tech person in this room, and my mom being from Mexico, English as her second language. I guess at some point after it happened, that he passed away, she reaches out. She's like, "Did you know the Apple guy? He died." I'm like, "Wow!" I go, "That's got to be pretty amazing. How far of a reach that this man had."
Well, I mean, there was a time earlier this year where this company was actually bigger than Exxon. So it was more than just a technology company. You know, it became one of the biggest companies in the world. And, you know, they brought him back from the brink. I mean, there was a period there where it really looked like Apple was going to go away. Yeah. And when Steve Jobs came back into the picture. So, you know, again, our condolences, you know, and it is a heartfelt loss. It'll be interesting, not necessarily in a good way, to see how Apple moves forward and how things continue. But a lot of you watching, you'll see it on the Google page, the Apple site. There's a lot of information out there on him, and But it really is going to be a big loss.
Yeah, it is. And, we were talking earlier, you and I, about how it's going to impact the company as a whole. And I just don't know. It's one of those things. It's a loss. Most companies, when they lose their CEO, I mean, they move on. They move on. But this is hard, man, because every product that it's kept them afloat and made them worth as much as they are today, they were his babies.
Well, I mean, again, and if you want to compare somebody who I think manages the day-to-day and looks at things as closely as he does, it's Jeff Bezos. And for those of you that don't recognize the name, that's the founder and CEO of Amazon.
Right.
And one of the things that he makes very, very clear is that he has a lot of approval and input into what he does. And, I know it's always been a competition, but I'm sure even for Amazon it's a tragic loss because, they sell a lot of Apple products. They came out with their new Kindle Fire and, there's a lot of jabbing and, a lot of good fun. But it's interesting, and it would be sad if we lost Jeff Bezos because I'm not sure Amazon would be what it was without him.
Right.
So... that being said, again, for those of you who are just turning in, with the loss of Steve Jobs, we'll see how things go.
Right. So, moving on.
Moving on, one of the segments we're going to add to our show this week and from here on out, we're going to call it,
Focus on America, right?
Wow, you almost got that out. That's good.
I was going to say, are we making up names on the spot now?
Yeah, man, that sounds good. I'll tell you what, if anybody out there has a good suggestion for a name on a segment where we're going to talk about buying American, give us a call.
And one of the things about Focus on America, what we were looking at is, as I was preparing for last week's show and looking through some of the articles, you read about some of the stories. And again, I'm all for what happens in America in the sense that some companies, big and small, sometimes they either outlast themselves, they outgrow themselves, they get into issues. Is it management? Is it the product? Is it, and I know I'm going to get flack for this one, but sometimes, is it union-based? Is it something that drove them the cost too high? But sometimes we also look at just certain things that are out there, and with everybody watching every penny, I think certain things fall through the cracks. So one of the companies, and she's going to be calling in shortly, correct, Arvin?
She is scheduled to call in at 8:15, so we should bring her on right after the second segment.
Okay, so she's going to be on with us, and one of the companies we're going to be talking about is Landreth Seed Company, and we'll go into more detail when we get her on the phone. But what was so interesting to me was how it's the oldest seed house in America. And most people think, well, what is a seed house? And I know what Arvin's thinking.
You want to clarify?
Yeah, I was going to say, I know what Arvin's thinking because he's of the younger generation. But a seed house, like for example, my mom loves to plant tulips, and she likes the gardening. And one of the things about these seed houses is you buy a catalog, and you order seeds. And the funny part was, in reading through it, was how many people didn't realize that this company even existed, and let alone was going under. And she got really aggressive and did some Facebooking. The LA Times did a story. So we're curious to talk to her to see, if the grassroots efforts has helped save the company.
Yeah, I actually do hope that we can help out to some extent, because I did have probably about a good 15-20 minute talk with her last week. A really nice lady. She told me some of the background, which we'll save, once we have her on the air. But it's quite amazing what she's been able to do, and all the hurdles she had to overcome to be where she's at today. So hopefully we can do something to try to help out.
Good. So in the second segment, we'll be doing Focus on America, and we're looking forward to that. Let's get into things that are more positive. Amanda Knox is home.
Yeah, that's positive.
Well, I mean, I'm glad she's home, and but it's one of these things, for 4 years they held her on something, then it came back that they couldn't do the DNA evidence, and, there's a lot of, speculation behind what went on over there, but, it was interesting to see how from one day to the next they dropped the charges.
Well, they dropped the charges based on the fact that the DNA evidence that they used to convict her was pretty much demolished in the second trial. So, I mean, I think from that perspective, they really had no choice. I don't know how the Italian justice system works. I don't know, to be honest with you, if it's the same as here, where you're innocent until proven guilty. I don't believe it is. But it was good to see that the system worked, because basically the evidence that was used to convict her was just demolished. And it was reversed.
My first question is, why does it take 4 years to...
Well, I mean, I think this everywhere, man. You see guys here that have been sitting in freaking death row for 20 years before...
Richard Ramirez? Is he
exonerated.
still alive? Is he still in jail, Richard Ramirez?
I don't even remember what happened to Richard Ramirez.
I have no clue.
But, so in this case, I mean, if the evidence wasn't there and they released it, I mean, it's good. It's good to see that the system worked. Now, a little bit of a controversy that is coming out now is apparently that her family had hired a PR firm through the beginning to just go on the massive PR blitz. I don't know if they have money or what, to kind of paint a different picture of her in the media. And so now today there was a lot of talk on talk radio about that. How the girl that was murdered, I can't remember her name, her family now is fighting back, saying that it was just all a PR thing.
And be that as it may, it comes back to any way you slice it. If you've got money,
right?
You know, a la OJ.
So we're saying is that they didn't even go by the facts. They went by what, the media?
No. What they're saying is the evidence was destroyed, so she had to be released. But what this family is saying is that because of the PR pushing the fact that she was supposedly innocent, that's why the case got reviewed so heavily. That's why there was so much focus on that case.
Okay, so let's kind of put that scenario into a different case altogether. The Michael Jackson trial.
Okay.
Guy's got money. You're saying that with money he can, after so many years in court.
Who's got money?
Well, what
the doctor.
The doctor.
The doctor.
He doesn't have Michael Jackson kind of money.
Well, from what I heard this afternoon, they found, I don't know where it came from or if the doctor took it, but that he found a huge amount of cash in the bedroom. In Michael Jackson's bedroom after he died. I don't know if the doctor took it. I don't know if it was taken into evidence.
Yeah, but regardless, unless it's in the millions, I mean, even if the guy took $100,000, his legal team and what it's going to cost to defend him, he's going to have a hard time buying himself out of this one because you have all of the emotional impact. You know, you have these people walking around as if, Michael Jackson, I know I'm going to catch flack for this one too, was a god or a saint. And some of these people, they make it seem like they crucified the guy.
I mean, he liked a lot of that Jesus juice.
Well, okay, so, the king of pot. I mean, the doctor did what he did. Sure, the doctor was at fault for taking the gig and hanging out, and he was probably texting while Michael's injecting himself with stuff. I mean, nobody's denying that Michael's dead. It's just the way they're going at it. And, this doctor, I'm not sure he's got the deep pockets that he's going to be able to buy himself out of it.
Dude, the bottom line is, if it was a malpractice thing, he chose the wrong person to malpractice on. He should have pulled down the king of pop, man. Well, it doesn't matter, man. You could be Marcus Welby. I know you don't know who that is, but it doesn't matter, man.
Is he the king of soda pop?
No, but if you kill Michael Jackson, you're done.
Well, again, though, that's the part that's so ridiculous. Yeah. I mean, it's just okay. So it's.
No, I'm with you. I'm just saying.
Is it a travesty? Is it a tragedy? I mean, I'm not sure, but I'm sure he sold more records now posthumously than he did.
Oh yeah, I think the name of that, I can't remember the name of the album, but the album that came out right after he died, they say that blew everything else out of the water that he had ever put together before that.
Sure. So it comes down to one of those things. So, the doctor, but I think with the Amanda Knox trial, it's going to be interesting to see how some of the fallout comes together. She's back home. I don't know that, do we extradite over there? Because, I mean, I know that they're looking at her for a defamation suit. And if this family pushed through, but she's pretty much done, right? She doesn't have to go back now?
I don't believe so. We do have an extradition treaty with Italy. There's a big difference in having a treaty and enforcing it, though.
Okay.
So who knows?
So, for now, we're glad she's home. How it all plays out, well, that remains to be seen.
Well, I mean, I'm happy she's home. Couldn't care. I wouldn't say I'm glad. It's for her family.
So what you're saying is, you don't matter. It doesn't matter either way.
She can still be in Italy. I don't care.
Well, I mean, again, I'm saying she's a fellow American, so.
Yeah, that's true.
So we're gonna take it.
So we're gonna take what?
No, I'm just saying she's a fellow American. I'm glad she's back. So we'll take it. We'll take that with a grain of salt.
I mean, I was happier when those two hikers got released from by Iran.
All right, I'm going to leave it alone that you were happier that two guys came home than the girl did. But anyway, You're listening to the Three Guys Rant on AdrenalineRadio.com. Sorry, I'll get that right. Indy 104.
And we're working on one in New England.
And somewhere on the East Coast. We'll be right back after this first break. Please stick around.
Alright, so our next one would be at 8:35, and then 8:50 for the third break.
No, you can go 8:35 and then put us back on track at 8:45.
At 8:45?
Yeah. Okay. Go ahead and put us back on track. That's okay on the 10-minute segment because we'll give this lady a few minutes to talk with us, and then you can just put us right back on track after that.
Cool, she's on?
Yeah.
So we can get out at 9, close it out at 9 or what?
Yeah, because well, they got to close out at 9 because the next show goes on right after us.
No,
So
we got no show afterwards.
Steven said he was going to give us a time on the back end.
no, but he said Acting Up comes on right after us.
Well, I
Yeah,
don't
but
know.
you guys started late, so I mean, you have to have your hour.
Oh, okay.
So that's what I'm
I
saying.
know he told me that he'd give us time on the back end. I don't know if he said something else after that.
Yeah, so I mean, you want to do it the way you were talking about then?
That's fine then. Go ahead and do what you're saying.
Okay, because we're over at 9:05.
Okay,
Because the other show's not coming in.
perfect.
So,
I like it. What's Fox's Shazam?
they're like Queen.
Okay.
If Queen were still around.
I'm not gay, or?
You know what? He acts flamboyant. I thought he was gay, but he's not. He has 2 kids and a wife.
That doesn't mean he's not
Yeah.
gay.
I mean, at least some part. I mean, he can't be totally gay. He might bust a Freddie Mercury.
He could be.
He can be like Mike. He can
He
be
can be
bi.
he can be undercover.
I'll bring my iPod and the next break so you can listen to it. Really
Yeah,
interesting.
I'd like to. I always like Queen.
You guys can actually hear me? I don't hear it in mine.
Right? Right? Yeah.